everybody. We're live at the Crypto Mindset channel. How are you doing today? I'm solo, flying solo over here, hoping everyone is good. Looking at Bitcoin cracking down and down and down. Looks like there's no bottom for it right now, but hey, we're going to have a bottom at one point, probably some bounce at one point, but that's yet to be determined for now. Shorts are dominating everything. Shorts are dominating everything. And, it is how it is. All right, everyone. I'm welcoming everyone to ask any questions they might have. Absolutely anything and everything. Whatever you want to ask, this is your time to kind of ask it. Whatever you want. This is Ask Me Anything show, not the regular show, not the show with CM where we make a bunch of laugh, talks about shit, and everything. This is an absolutely Ask Anything. I'm here for you guys today. I'm going to just start, with a little bit of rant talking about Bitcoin chart while you guys are taking, digesting it in and thinking about questions. All right, so this is the Bitcoin chart. As you can see, it's free falling right now. It's only going perpetually down since we had, the fake out higher high to 125 over here. Ever since then, it's free falling, with some bounces. Let's call it every bounce was met with selling, more selling here, more selling. Everything and anything was just, kind of a bear flag that you could have sold upon and made money on the short side. And that's what we have been trying to do in the past couple of weeks, trying to find some shorts. Okay, and right now shorts are the only thing that are kind of working. It is what it is. Love it, hate it, doesn't really matter. Bitcoin is just acting fluff. And I'll be brutal over here because there's something that you guys need to know. This is the first time ever. Okay, not ever, but this is the first time in this bull market. Let me teach you something. Okay, let me teach you something. So a bull market, as hopefully at least that is comprised of higher highs and higher lows. Right? That's a bullish trend. Okay, easy peasy. That's a bull market. Okay, as long as you have higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so everything is good. Now, this last one is kind of iffy just yet. Prior to it, we were actually here. Okay, we were hoping, to get somewhat of a low here to continue up higher. Now, that didn't materialize. That didn't happen. And right now, we're going lower than most people expected. Okay, but you can say that from a trading perspective, like basic trading, basic charting, you're still in an uptrend. However, okay, and this is something we need to understand. You see this moving average over here. This is a 50-week simple moving average. Okay, now Bitcoin, as you can see, usually when it breaks above it, okay, usually starts a bull market. When it breaks below it and closes below it, it starts a bear market. The last time we broke above it was in March 2023. Ever since we've been, riding above it, only retesting it. This is the first time, okay, the first time we had a weekly close and a continuation, because we had a penetration here. This was the penetration like we had here. We penetrated a bit here, penetrated a bit here. Those were all penetration. But this last week over here was the first weekly close below it. That is bad news, ladies and gentlemen. This is a character change, and this is not something we want to see. Okay, if you're a bull in this market, this is not what you wanted to see. Now, this is not the verdict. This is not the executioner coming to you saying, hey, you're done, that is it. But this is high probability, bear market territories right now. Okay, high probability bear market territories right now. So yeah, that's what we have on Bitcoin. Not looking good for the bulls, at least. If you're a bear, if you're short, you're really on the good side. Right, as I said, this is Different type of show. We don't have CM today, so it's an ask me anything kind of show. So you can go on that chat, ask me anything you want about trading, about your favorite coin, anything and everything that you want me to try and give you, my 2 cents. You can do that right now. And I'll, of course, take the chart every now and then, show you things, try to teach you, give you the alpha here. Let's start with the first question over here. Mr. G Time Consultant Travels. I like that. He's saying ZBAC is turning green. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure this is a question, but let's take a look at the ZBCN, chart over here. Okay. So ZBCN is indeed, green for the day rather than, red right now. You can estimate and show or say that it's somewhat of a relative strength, if Bitcoin is moving down, as I just indicated and showed. But, ZBCN is kind of not playing ball with the market and trying to fight its grounds. You can say it is somewhat of a relative strength, but I think that the volume has diminished quite so much. The volume right now is 1.5 million only on the Bybit spot, which was, tens of millions when it broke out higher. My honest opinion is that, ZBCN, well, my honest opinion is right now, with all the data, with all the information we have right now, the market seems like it has entered a bear market. Now, anything can change. I don't know. Trump can pull a rabbit out of his asshole and create huge amount of liquidity that might pour into the markets. I don't know, right? I don't know the future. No one knows the future. Okay, but if the market is kind of doomed, then most altcoins are doomed also, ZBCN among them. Now, we've been talking about ZBCN, in our channels for months now. The reality is we traded it here and we traded it here, to the long side. And these were the only real long opportunities. After that, nothing else was long. Maybe we had some shorts. We took some shorts here, some successful, some less successful, nothing to go to the bank to. But it's not breaking down too strong. I'll give it that, but it's not going up either, right? So ZBCN is stuck right now. To be honest, as long as we are, below this trend line, I don't think anything can happen. And we broke actually below this trend line that I thought is going to be like the support. We're below it right now. So these trend lines, they're not, oh my God, it's a trend line, but they help kind of estimate things. Look, as long as the market is in trouble, ZBCN is in trouble, showing weakness. That's the brutal, reality of the markets. Okay, if the markets are just bearish, the coins are done. Okay, my view, all right, my view is this is crypto. I don't even call it crypto. I try to not call it crypto. Why? Because my mindset is that, and you need to get into this mindset again. Besides Bitcoin, you can argue Ethereum or some other ones. I don't really care. But besides Bitcoin, I think everything else is just a shit coin. They all have problems with gravity. They all have problems with gravity. Takes them down eventually. It doesn't matter if they can fight gravity for a while. Okay, any coin at one point in time in a bullish market can have its time to shine, but eventually, okay, they will all go down. Okay, that's how they're built. It's just a game where we have so many options, so many altcoins. They're all just pure tokens. They don't have anything to them. Okay, it's all fluff. So that's why they have an issue with gravity. In the future, I don't know how the future will look like. It might change. But right now, all altcoins, until proven otherwise, they all have problems with gravity. Okay, and that's why I don't hodl them. I don't. Okay, for me, I just trade them in and out. This is the reason. Mr. Wasapo is saying hi. Shout out to you, Wasapo. By the way, everyone, shout out to everyone that is watching right now. This is a different type of show. We don't have CM today. This is an Ask Me Anything show. I'm here, no BS. Won't get down on you. Will only try to give you my knowledge now without anything else. Just my knowledge. Come pick my brains. Ask me anything. If you want to ask about your coin, go ahead. Ask about your coins. I will try to analyze it from my standpoint. Okay, just my standpoint. If you want to ask about trading related questions, anything, boom, you can ask it right now. Wasapo is following up saying, if you NCM SQY that you made I don't know what a SQY, 500 plus trades in October, why not show the loss you incurred as well? Because we minimize our losses to, my average loss is less than 5%. My losses are just nothing, okay? That's how we trade. And you can go to the membership, see all the trades, right? You can go to the membership, you can buy a month if you want to, show your interest, see all the trades that we have posted. We have losses. My, long-term average batting is 60% losses, 40% winners, long term, right? As of late, we had a lot of winners. Well, I think one of my WAP members told me that in the past few months, I had like an 80% win rate, which is huge, which only means that the market was amazing for the past time, okay? But in the long run, you take bear markets, slow markets, fast markets, whatever, I'm wrong roughly 60% of the time. But you need to understand that the mathematics, it doesn't matter that I'm wrong 60% of the time. When I'm wrong, I lose $1. But when I'm right, I make $4. Okay? That's why my long-term P&L is skewed very much in my favor. Okay? Big, thing to understand. Really important to understand. It's when you understand these mathematics, the statistics, very easy. That's when you understand that trading is a professional endeavor. You can have your statistics. Okay, I know my statistics. Right. So my losses, man, they don't mean anything. So that's why we don't show them over here. But I'm telling you right here and now, 60% long-term perspective. Losses, 40% winners. When I lose $1. When I win, on average, I make $4. That's why my P&L is skewed. And hey, the 100% gainers we had in October's, that's an unusual month. Okay, very unusual month. It doesn't happen every month, that's for sure. Why not make, here's a follow-up. Why not make a video showing each and every trade you made in October, be it in a profit or in a loss? Maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll make a video about all the trades we've taken. And I will show you each and every one. Good idea. Thank you. Djo PV. Hey, can you compare two charts of Bitcoin and Caspa trend for the last 2 years? All right, let's try and do that. Okie dokie, we have some Caspa lovers in the house. As I told you, everyone, this is a different type of show. You can ask anything. I'm here to answer all your questions. I'm here without CM today, here to answer anything that you want. Well, I can do two things, Mr. DJ. I can do this, the compare kind of thing with a new pane. That's what I like to do usually. Let me arrange it so you can see it better and diminish these ones. I like to do this, for example, where I compare it this way. Is that what you meant? Hopefully this is what you meant. Okay, what do you want to see exactly? Okay, want to see how Bitcoin outperformed, Caspa, ever since here. Let's put, here. This, in my opinion, okay? In my opinion, this is my opinion, okay? I need to understand, I use stage analysis to analyze markets. For me, this was the end. This was the real end of the Caspa bull market here, okay? And in November 2023, okay? Yes, we had marginal higher highs later, stage 3 topping. In my opinion, this from my models, the way I model things, the way I use frameworks. This was a stage where marginal higher highs only. So the reality is that I believe that Caspa, topped, from a standpoint of stage analysis in November, okay? But in order to make this easy, because some people are going to be, oh, I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to make it easier for you. I'm going to put the peak of Caspa here, You know what? I'm going to remove everything so you can see it. I'm going to analyze it from the peak. Okay. So you can see that Caspa peaked here. This is, the end of July. Okay. And you can see that ever since July, let's just, from a standpoint of a perspective, ever since July, you see Caspa went an 80% down from the top since July. Now, Bitcoin from this time, okay, let's just measure it. This is here, so we were here. We are up, 60%. Well, we were up at one point 110%. But right now, because right now this is where we are up at 60%. So you can see Bitcoin in the past, 2 years at least, has been outperforming Caspa by a long shot. And there's not much to say over here. Then because this comparison doesn't mean a lot. Okay, I can only say one thing. Okay, if you really want to understand how to better trade, you need to understand stage analysis. Stage analysis framework has 4 stages. Stage 1 is called the accumulation phase. This is neglect. No one is looking at this phase. Okay, this is when you're early to the party. Stage 2 is the uptrend. That's where all the money on the long side is being made. This is stage 3. Usually it's very choppy like this. This is the topping phase. And then you have the stage 4 decline where you want to be out of the market or you want to be short the market. Okay. Now let's look at Caspa. Okay. Caspa, you had a stage 1, very short one, then a stage 2. Okay. Then a stage 3, then a stage 4, and you're in a prolonged stage 4 right now. We teach this. This is something this is the framework that I use. I think Caspa is a classic case of a beautiful stage analysis. That's why we knew that with a high degree of probability, no one knows in real time. We can only speculate with probabilities. But that's why CM and I, in real time, I think it was somewhere in August over here. I think it was a Coinbase listing. It started beautiful, but closed really badly. We said, you know what, this looks cooked, because it's creating marginal higher highs. Each time it's breaking from one high, goes back into range. It didn't happen here. This was only breakouts territory, okay? So if you know stage analysis, you can make beautiful decisions, even if you're a bit of a longer term type trader. And if you want to, come and learn with us, we have a boot camp on the 26th of November. So in a week, we're going to have a boot camp. This is a bear market boot camp. We're going to discuss a lot about how to protect your capital, how to, short the market. And I'm going to talk about a stage analysis, because that's the main framework that we use. Come scan the QR code. We have a coupon code, I think, over here for the people that are, we have the Bear Live coupon code for 25% off. Bear Live, you can use that if you want to. If you don't, up to you. Whatever you want to be doing, I'm okay with it. So yeah, I think that answers your question, Mr. DJ. All right, so we have we have Will. Hey, Joe, how are you doing? What about Caspa? Well, I just shown, Caspa's chart. I think Caspa is at a stage 4 decline. It's going down. We've been saying that for months right now. Nothing has changed. At a point, I don't know when. I don't know what good price. It can be at 3 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent, below 1 cent. It might, bottom. I'm going to show the chart again. It might bottom, and create somewhat of a renewed stage 1. I don't know when. Okay, at one point it's going to do something like this, bottom out, move sideways, and maybe in the future it create a new cycle. Maybe Caspa is going to be one of the very few coins that make new highs from one cycle to another. The only one that really does it with real ferociousness is Bitcoin so far, right? So that's what I'm thinking. This dude is saying, hey man, hey, what's up to you? Shout out. Mr. Cojitos 82 is saying, hello, G. Hey, what's up? All right. You say head and shoulders, and I do show with you. Beautiful. Oh, when Bitcoin was 106. Beautiful, man. I'm happy camper. This dude is saying thank you. Made a 15K on it. That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. We're trying to help people making those ROIs by following us. We're trying to give you the alpha, the truth, right? Hey, dude, consider giving me, a super thanks over here. We're accepting hundreds, 500s, thousands. We're accepting super thanks. Come to my channel, give it, drop it over here. If we're helping you, do that, okay? Short print, 100% shorts are printing right now. And this is the thing. This is the thing in the markets, okay? A lot of people are hesitant. They're afraid for some reason about for shorting. I understand why. I understand where it comes from, but I don't understand why not try to make that mental shift, okay? Make a mental shift. Why procrastinate? For God's sakes. You see the market going down, why not capitalize upon it or at least hedge? If you're so in love with a specific coin and you want to hold it forever, you can hedge your position by shorting it on the way down. That way, as long as it's going down, you're losing money on a spot long, but you're making, gains on your short, on the futures. And then when things bottom out and things look clear sky again, you can close the short. You're kind of you buffered, you hedged your spot long. Boom. That's the minimum. That's the bare minimum. If you don't know how to do that, you're a pure gambler. You know, I once read somewhere, what's the difference between a gambler and a speculator? Okay. Besides a gambler being someone just gambles on things and a speculator being a market speculator, right? So the difference is that a gambler will just bet on anything. Anything. He just wants to gamble. That's a gambler mindset. A speculator, on the other hand, will only bet when the odds are in his favor. That's the difference. That's what we're trying to do here in the crypto mindset channel, where I'm calling my channel right now the crypto mindset, just to give it, a balance. But that's what we're trying to teach, okay? That's what we're trying to teach. The difference between gambling, which is just betting on everything, and speculating, which is betting when the odds are in your favor. And if the odds are not in your favor, easy, out of the market. You don't bet, you're in cash. That's how it's done. That's how professionals do it. Okay. Maher, good to see you, Jomo. In my opinion, 98.5% we're in a bear market. Oh man, 98.5%. That's a a very specific, number, 98.5%. Last week I was at an 80%. We are in a bear market, and I think the probabilities are right now at 90%. We're in a bear market. The truth is that we all want the bull market to continue. We just want the bull market to continue. So we're looking for, reasons for it. And I am too, to be honest, I'm looking for reasons. I want, the bull market it's fun, it just continues. Everyone is fine. Well, but not everyone. What, for a professional trader like me, bull markets are always, fun because you can always find opportunities. It's good. So I like it. In my last, for my members, specifically for the elite VIPs and for the VIPs, I make a weekly market pulse. Okay. It's once a week. Usually it's on a Sunday, sometimes on a Mondays. Okay. When I discussed about what happened in the past week, and I discussed what will happen what's my stance for the future week, so people can kind of gauge where I'm at right now. Okay. I was truly looking this week to find, what is the argument for the bull side? Okay, because the bear side is quite easy for me already. Right, market structure broke. We had markets top on bullish news. We met with bad price action. We had this happen in multiple times. We had high fake outs. We had the main narratives was, the Fed rate cut. Everyone was saying to me, oh, when the Fed cut rates, we're go in the raging bull, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right. And then it happened. The rate cut happened, but price went down. Okay. That for me was a news failure. And when that happens at the top of a bull market or a potential top, that usually indicates a higher probability of a true top, because the bull market tops on good news met with bad price action and narratives. And, everyone was saying that, what, when the United States is going to come back from the shutdown, we're going to continue. And all of a sudden, the shutdown has ended, and actually the price is going even lower. So all those, everything is just pointing down. Everything. There's just this one rabbit, which is called Donald Trump. And we just know that he wants to print money. And we know from the past that, printing money was good, COVID, helicopter money, everyone was, and the markets exploded. But and here's the difference, okay? In the past, the Fed and the United States governments, and usually, central banks around the world, they used to ease into a struggling economy, okay? Usually when the Fed prints money, goes into quantitative easing, the governments want to ease, help the burden, it's when the economy is struggling. Now we are easing because the Fed cut rates, even though inflation is still around. It's indicated quantitative easing. The government wants to print money, helicopter money, but it's doing all this into a bubble. Okay, we're already in somewhat of a bubble kind of stage. I wouldn't say it's like a huge euphoric bubble, but Bitcoin all-time highs 105. AI has been ripping. Gold has been ripping also, right? The market, the stock market has been going up for many, 2-3 years already. We're easing into already kind of a bubble, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? All right, and right now the market doesn't like it. Okay, now if we can change, if trillions of dollars are going to be printed, but how will that, even if it does change, I'm trying to find out if it does go euphoric, what happens afterwards? Because the one outcome is going to be a huge crash, even. And right now I see only a 10% chance of that happening. And Trump needs to pull a huge rabbit out of his ass, to be honest, to make that happen, because the market is just puking. The market is just puking every goddamn good news right now, right? So that's my 2 cents, okay? I went into a rant, but that's what it is. All right, so Caesar Crypto is saying Bitcoin Cash will go to 20K. That dude is a loser, man. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash just 1 second. Oh man, this dude, I've been, I think yours, Crangy is saying about this dude Caesar for so long, and this was the all-time high. I think this was the all-time high for, Bitcoin Cash, even though it was traded prior to that. It was trading in 2017 and made a huge move. I remember because I was trading it over here. But, from here to $20,000, come on, what is this guy lunatic? I can appreciate a continuation, maybe to retest all-time highs, at one point, which it never retested it, because look what happens to other coins when they retested the past cycle's high. Look at Solana, for example. This was the past high, went above it, and now it's going below it. Let's look at XRP, for example. XRP, same kind of issue. Well, we need actually the Bitstamp chart, so we can actually see it. XRP, this was the all-time high here. Now we had a marginal high, and we're going down ever since, right? So this dude Caesar is I told you what you guys need to do. You need to go to his channel and you need to report his ass because to be frank, he's just I don't believe he knows what he's doing. And I hate people that give predictions and wild prediction. Why on earth would you try to give a wild prediction? Why is it, who are you helping? No one but yourself. If you're giving wild prediction to give hope to people, who are you helping? No one besides yourself, because no one can predict the future. No one can predict the future. No one can predict the future, right? So who are you to play God in that sense, okay? 20. All right, Christoph is saying, looking smooth, brother. Thank you very much. Dash. Daniel Kaufman is asking about Dash. The beautiful Dash. All right. We took a trade, on the membership on Dash, and I fumbled it. We took my members ripped 100 percentile on it, and I fumbled. I made like a 20% out of it because I choked the trade. And even that happened. What was the name of that dude in the beginning? The Wasapu, even that happened. Sometimes I fumble my own trades. All right, so Dash right now. Look, Again, just like any other coin, if Bitcoin goes down right now and that's where it's going, then all the market is going down. Nothing is going to fight Bitcoin. Well, maybe something can fight Bitcoin for a moment. For a moment, something can give Bitcoin a run for his mouth, all right, run for his money, and it can happen. Dash can be maybe one of those. I don't know. Okay, right now, what I know is this. Okay, I'm a trader. Okay, so when I look at something like this, okay, I was looking, is there a trade for me on Dash right now? And I don't see a long trade and I don't see a short trade right now. I saw a trade here. That's why we took it. Okay, our trade was from here. The breakout of this point here, that was the trade, specifically this day over here. And the price was exactly 44.30, let's call it, on 26th of October. Now you can see initially it moved up, then it moved back down, stopped me out, even though, because I choked, I moved the stop higher. But my members that didn't move the stop, they didn't have the stop loss hit, and they had a huge ride to them, okay, which is beautiful, because I love it when my members are printing money, even if I don't, because I'm here for all of us to win, not only for me. So Dash made a trade, beautiful trade, a 250% move. A 250% move. It went bazookas, rent balonies. That's it. That was the trade in my perspective. From my perspective, all right, I think it's not the trade on Dash, at least for now, is done. Can it do another trade in the future? Maybe. Okay. But I can't know. I will keep watching Dash for a potential continuation trade. Can it continue? I mean, as I said, coins usually that had an all-time high in the past don't revisit it, never see the light of day again. But who knows? Who knows? Keep Dash on your radar, and if it creates somewhat of a volatility contraction pattern, and you can find a decent entry with a low risk, for example, bam, you can take the breakout here, man, you can do that. That's called a continuation trade, and that's things that we teach. And by the way, we have the bear market bootcamp coming. We're going to teach you how to short, how to hedge, how to protect your capital, and all those beautiful things. If you really want to understand how to capitalize on the bear market when everyone is panicking, scan the QR code, go check it out. We have a coupon code for you over here somewhere here, Bear Live, coupon code for 25% off. Scan the QR code. You have it also on the top right, whatever. Okay, if you want to come join, beautiful. Next week, 26th of October, it will be recorded. If you can't attend live, you can come at any time, watch it later, and you will have a recording for life. All right, well, you have. All right, we have Daniel is saying, I just bought Dash at 90 a coin. Well, if you bought at 90 a coin, you're at a loss right now. I would say sell. Okay. Well, again, this is not a financial advice channel. I'm just giving my 2 cents over here. Again, I don't see any trade right now on Dash. And with the market fumbling right now, with Bitcoin looking weak, I don't know where Bitcoin will bounce or not bounce. Okay. I don't. And again, it's your trade. You need to have a plan. Okay. That's how trading and investing work. Daniel, if you had a plan for this, follow your plan. If you have risk management, you have a stop loss, you had all that, beautiful. That's all I need. Okay. As long as you have risk management in mind, okay, that's all I need. But if you don't have any risk management, all right, if you don't know when you're getting out, you have no idea what you're doing with Dash, get out, clean slate, join the membership, come, learn from me. I will teach you how I do things, understand better how to do things from a more professional standpoint, okay? And then you can go do things on your own. The reason we have all this membership is because we saw so many people break down, because instead of investing in knowledge like we're offering over here, they put the money in the markets, right? And try out of thin air, okay, to make it happen. Let me ask you this. Would you trust someone that never learned how to be a surgeon to cut you open for a surgery because he believes he can? No. Would you trust someone that never learned how to be a lawyer to take and protect you in court? No. Okay, so why do any of you think that without learning anything about the market, you can just come to the market and poof, create ROIs out of thin air? Well, only if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, and everyone can get lucky every now and then, just like in a lottery. But each week, someone wins the lottery, but each week it's someone different, and usually it's not me. So I went to the markets, created a skill set, and making my own lottery. Never win the lottery over here. All right. What else do we have? All right. Christoph is saying, ha ha ha, where the F he get 90? I don't know. Well, somewhere. Mr. Moroccan Cato, how low can BTC go if a recession hits in 2026? All right, that's an interesting question. Let's try and figure it out. Okay, let's try and figure it out. All right, Bitcoin on a Bitstamp chart. All right, so let's go on a monthly so we can see it from the monthly perspective. All right, we haven't had a real recession in some time. And let's go to the logarithmic chart. All right, so let's just measure the downside, all right, without a true recession. We didn't have a recession for a long time. So this was a 87% here. This was, an 80, let's call it 85% here, and this last bear market we had, sorry. A bit of a less because it got not saturated, 76%. All right. So the past, bear cycles had anywhere between a 75 to an 87, let's call it 75 to 90% down moves on Bitcoin. Okay. Now each low usually, kind of retested, almost the last previous high, almost. This was here. This was the low of 3,000. Then the high was 20 over here. The low was a bit below 20, right? So we're doing somewhat of a basic analysis. Okay, so let's just do a work. So from 125, sorry, this is 127. Let's make it easier on me. So from 125, all right, let's go down a 75%, okay? So a 75% would take us to 30K, okay? And a 90% can take us to even, 12, 11K. Now you can argue that we can go less, 50%, who knows, right? But remember, all these weren't in a recession. So, I can't really tell. I can say that in the past, we went anywhere from 75 to 90. So there you go. Okay. If you go by the past, anywhere between 75 and 90% bear market can happen. And again, pure speculation, pure, viewing past as if the future is going to, exactly do what the past did, which it never does. Okay. It can go, if a recession comes over the side, like a true recession, like something happens, debasement, I don't know, I don't know what can happen. It can go steeper, right? Now, on the other hand, maybe it won't go as steep. Maybe we have more companies right now, hedge funds, whatever, so it'll go down like 50% in bear market. Don't know, okay? I don't think that way, okay? To be honest, I think it's a bad way of thinking. Why? Because what you're actually asking me is, when should I buy the dip? I think that's what you're actually asking. And I don't just buy dips. That's not my strategy, okay? If you're trying to figure out when to buy, Bitcoin at its lowest point, you will never find the lowest point ever. You don't need to. What you need to is try to find the lowest point you can with confirmation, okay? With confirmation that we got back into a bull market. And for an instance, in Bitcoin, it can be using the 50-week moving average as a basis, okay? You can see that, for example, in a couple of instances, if you bought above the 50-week here and sold here, while profitable. If you above going above here, sold, breaking below it here, a small profit. And if you bought here, sold here, small loss. Then if you bought back here again, sold here, sorry, actually you didn't sold here because it didn't close. You actually sold here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then if you bought here and you sold just now, another beautiful profit, okay? So you can use the 50-week moving average as your guide to when to buy Bitcoin next in the next bull market. Right. This dude, when BTC can go in the low bear market like 30K, again, same question. I don't really know. Well, two people are asking about ZBCN again. And as I said, I'm going to answer anything you guys have in mind. I'm going to just bounce in just a couple more minutes because I think I'm kind of done for the day. So ZBCN, we talked about it in the beginning, but I'm going to give a very short, my take on ZBCN is that if the market goes lower, then ZBCN is going to go lower. Okay. Now, if the market rebounds for some reason, and for some reason, ZBCN shows huge strength coming from here and then breaks above this trend line, I'm going to be looking bullish for it. But I think that this is not in the table. I think that right now the table is going down and down and down. That's what I think right now ZBCN is going to happen. Unfortunately, don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to giving my two cents. I can be wrong. Anything can happen in the markets, but I think the market is cooked for now and until proven otherwise. Okay, FDT coin, FDT coin. I don't even have FDT coin. I don't even have FDT coin. If it's on a DEX, I don't trade on DEXs. I'm sorry. I only trade on centralized exchanges. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked, what I'm having for you today. I see we have one more question, or two more questions. I'm going to answer two more questions. In the meantime, we're going to have a bear market bootcamp next week, probably anywhere between 2 and 3 hours maximum. We're going to try and push you the knowledge, only the pure knowledge, the purified knowledge we distilled for you to make sure you're protected and actually can capitalize on bear markets. All you need to do is scan the QR code now, and we have a coupon code for you, 25% off Bear Live. Go check it out. Link in the description. Also, all the knowledge that we can on bear markets is going to come for you. Okay, two last questions. Trinity is asking, what about Sonic, previously FTM? What's the long-term thoughts? I think it's called S right now. My thoughts is it's cooked. Again, and I'm going to show the chart for you guys to understand. My belief, okay, you can see it's going down since it's since it's S, it's going down. In all these rebranding, they don't have a lot to them, usually just a rebranding. Some can have another kind of bullish market to them. To be honest, I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this in the past. You need to go and do the research yourself, but there's only like a 0.001% of coins within the entire crypto market that, after having an all-time high on one cycle, actually break that past cycle all-time high to go into new highs. I think it happened on Ethereum. Like, I'm not talking about marginal higher highs like XRP and Sol had. I'm talking about an LTC had in the past. I'm talking about real higher highs. Bitcoin had that. Ethereum had that. Doge had that. TRX had that. BNB had that. Okay, but not a lot. Not a lot. And I'm talking from one cycle to another. Okay. So I don't think, this Sonic thing is going to, outshine the past FTM. And again, I don't care, because if Sonic will print a setup, will give me a setup that I can trade it, I'm going to trade it, because again, I believe in swing trading, mid-term, short-term trading, where I can capitalize on a specific move, high asymmetric reward, as much ROI as I can make at the shortest amount of time, and be done with it. I don't think in crypto, okay, not in stock indexes, on stuff like that. I don't, and you can argue about Bitcoin. I don't believe long-term holding as forever. Maybe if you get in at the exact beginning of a bull market, hold for a year, 2 years max, until you see signs of top, boom. If you can master that, beautiful. I believe in trading. I believe that's where I have the control. I believe that's where I have the skill set, okay? Jonathan is saying, so we are in a confirmed bear market now. Well, Jonathan, it depends how you look at it, okay? If you look at it from a perspective of the 50-week moving average is where you deem a bear market, then you are at a 90% probability in. The only confirmation you need is a retest back and a breakdown, okay? So for me, okay, I'm going to show you what a confirmation will look like, okay? A true confirmation, and then I'm going to be done with today, okay? And by the way, nothing is confirmed until hindsight, okay? For me, okay, a real confirmation of a bear market, okay, will at one point, I don't know when we're going to have a bounce, something like this. And this is going to start sloping sideways like this. The bounce should come here, retest it, maybe go above it a little bit and go back down, okay? Now, I'm going to be shorting this breakdown, but the confirmation is going to happen once we go below whatever level we reach. Okay, that's the real confirmation. We're at a bear market. But as you can see, usually that is a bit late. Okay, that's the true confirmation. And again, you can only gouge in hindsight because it is what it is. You can never know in real time it's a true bear market. You can't. Okay, you can't. You can only have a degree of probability, like I believe now 90% degree of probability. And by the way, over here, I was already 80%. That's why in the membership, we're already starting to short in the past couple of weeks and starting to be more cautious about longs and stuff like that. Okay, but there you go. Okay, that's how I use things. That's how I use charts in my favor and so on. Anyways, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed this live with me, enjoyed a lot to give you my knowledge. Join my membership if you want to see my trading, okay? I trade quite good. If you want to follow me, you want to see how I trade, you should come and join. I wish I had someone at my level open to giving me his edge when I started. I did go to groups when I was a young starter trader. Usually they were all not too good, nothing real with an edge. Later on, I went and learned from Mark Minervini himself. I'm offering you my services. If you want to come, beautiful. I'm going to continue trading either way. Until next time, everyone, thank you for coming. Thank you for the